Hi, welcome to Undead Yarn. This is episode 92. I'm looking at, oh, you can see my baggy eyes. Anyway, hi, my name's Heidi, and you can find me as Knitty Girl on Ravelry, and you can find me as Undead Yarn on Twitter and on Instagram. And I do have a private feed, Undead Heidi, but I don't necessarily post all the shop stuff there, so you're better off following me at Undead Yarn. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. It's been a while since I podcasted, and I did want to say that starting in November probably I will be recording just once a month, so I just wanted to let y'all know I'm trying to have more focus on my business. I do have a trunk show coming up in October, and that will be at You're So Crafty, and it's going to be part of the Texas Yarn Crawl, the Central Texas Yarn Crawl, which runs from September 5th, I think, either 5th or 6th through the next week. It's usually about 2 weeks, so you have a lot of time to hit all the shops, and there are a lot of shops involved in it, so I just wanted to let y'all know about that. I have a lot of things that I've been working on since the last time I started podcasting, so I'll go ahead and get into them. I am trying to work my whips. We're doing the Whip It Good Cal with Crocheting Hoovian and Bookish Stitcher podcast, so you can post in my thread, and in theirs, and I don't know for sure, but I think all our rules may be pretty similar. I'm drawing for prizes every month. I'm not sure how they're planning to draw for prizes from their podcast, so you'll have to go check in their group. But if you pull out anything that you started working on before the whip started, which was I think in July, if you have anything that you started before July and you're working on it now, you can post a picture in the thread, and it's one whip per project per week that you can post in the thread. And I am working on, well, this is not a whip. This one I think I started in July maybe. This is my sock blank socks. Here's one. And I do have my sock holders by JDL Creations, who is Danielle. Here's the first sock. And here is the second sock. I'm pretty close to being done. And I do have a lot of, they're pretty similar. I thought they were going to look really different, but they don't. They look a little bit different, but not a whole lot different. And I'm still going to have a good amount of this left, so I think I might even have enough to make another whole pair of socks. My guess is I'm pulling from this end, so I'm guessing by the time I reach the end of the flowers, I'll probably be done because I'm close to finishing. And then look, there's more blue on the rest of it. So then I might get, the next pair of socks may look different from these, because these are mostly green with pops of color in them. So those are my sock blank socks, and this is my yarn, and I dyed this sock blank, and I'm hoping to get around to doing more, but I need a lot of room. You can see on there I have the flowers, and then mushrooms and flowers, and I had fairies on the beginning part. I think there might be fairies over here at the end. No. Oh, fairies right here. Right there. So I need a lot of room to make them, so it might be a while before I get around to making some more. I really wanted to make some for Halloween, but we'll see. I guess I do still have a month, 2 months, so we'll see about that, maybe. And then this bag, there's no tag inside. Bag makers, if you can put a tag inside, that'd be great, because most of the time I'll remember who I bought them from, but now I have so many I don't. And I'm not sure, this might have been from Molly Klein Designs, I'm not sure. I like that it's kind of Christmassy. And here's the inside. And this, I'm working on my friend's pattern, Laura Smoot Designs, and I'm using a friend's yarn. And there is a knit along in the Stockinette Zombies that's for friends. I'm not sure if this would qualify or not. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the rules, but I think it might. And this is Open Skies yarn by Jeanette, Bookish Stitcher. And you can see the colors are really pretty. It's blue and gold and green. And it's got that tweed, the tweed that's colorful in it. So that's another thing that I'm working on. And here's what the yarn looks like. I can show you in the skein. Isn't that pretty? I saw this at Yellow Rose Fiber Fest and she kindly gifted it to me. Thanks, Jeanette. Okay, that is my second project. And I am working on this. I haven't picked up in a while, but I did start it. This is some yarn that one of my friends found at the give it away table at SSK. Thanks, Betty. I'm making my watermelon dishcloth. Oh, and I forgot, in this bag, this is Stockinette Zombies. This is from the retreat, and this is Silver Shed Studio. And I love how, look, she's got a little handle, and then the top comes out, and you can close it. So this, I think this is a perfect size for a sock or a washcloth. And so I started this washcloth, and I didn't write down what the pattern was. It's on my Ravelry page, but I didn't write down the pattern. It's kind of a, to me it's like a broken rib. I'm not sure if that's what it's called, but the rib pattern changes every few rows, and there's a knit row in between. So I have that, and I think the yarn is tie-dye cotton. It should stripe, I believe. And another, oh, I forgot to say, did I show these? Yes, I did. Yeah, and this is also Silver Shed. I think I've got a lot of Silver Shed bags in use right now. Here's another one. And this bag was holding a lot of my projects. Look at how beautiful it is, and it's sparkly too. And makes a really nice bag. This one's really sturdy. And here's the inside. It looks like the sky. But this is holding my Find Your Fade shawl. And I just started it, and then I got to the, you can see I really haven't gotten very far. I started it, and then I got to the lace part, and I messed up the lace part, so I had to rip it back. And I almost ripped the whole thing back, and then I thought, no, that beginning part looks okay. This is hedgehog fibers. Almost the whole thing is going to be hedgehog fibers. Let's see, that's the first color. And I have them in order on my Instagram feed. I'm not going to take them all out. I'll show you some of them. This mostly hedgehog. This is hedgehog fibers. I think this one is hedgehog fibers. This one is Primrose Yarns, and I got this one in Nashville. And then there's two more hedgehog fibers that I have not wound yet. These two. And most of these I got in the Sock Club. And I knew once I saw Find Your Fade, I was like, my hedgehog fiber is going to be my Find Your Fade. So that one is in progress. And I think that is all that I brought down that I'm working on. I do have one more whip that I'm working on. I picked up my Halloween socks from last year. The This is Halloween colorway, but I forgot to bring the bag out. And I do have a spinning FO, and I forgot to bring that out too. It's actually still drying. Last night I finished applying my first braid of Lone Star Arts. I bought 2 braids from her when she was having a sale, and I finished spinning the first one, and now I'm going to do the second one. For the first one, I just split the braid in half and spun 2 bobbins and then plied them together. But for the second one, I think I'm going to do some fractal spinning. And I'm hoping I'm going to have enough to make a shawl. I was hoping to make a big shawl, but I only got about 200 yards from the first braid. So I'm guessing I'll probably get about the same from the second braid. We'll see. I was kind of hoping to get like 500 yards, but I think it's probably going to be more 400. So I do have a lot of orange fiber that I've plied, so I may be able to mix and match and make a bigger shawl. I wanted to make a big hand spun shawl for myself, so maybe I'll do that. I'll see if my other fibers, I have some like I said, I have some oranges that I think would probably match because there's a lot of orange in it. So that's what I've been working on. Weeks in review, I already talked about Hurricane Harvey last podcast, and I recommend if you want to help out to donate money to the Red Cross or to give blood, because those are the two things that will probably help the most. Sending things is fine, but sometimes if you send too much, they don't know what to do with it. That's happened in the past to other people who were survivors of something that happened to them. And that town, I mentioned this last time, the town that was in Massachusetts that had the shooting, it was either Massachusetts or somewhere else. It was a small town, and lots of knitters and crocheters sent them all this stuff, and they had more than they needed, and they didn't know what to do with it. So it's probably better to send money or to actually volunteer, or find out what they really need before you send anything. Anyway, I also wanted to mention that I have there's two new podcasts I wanted to recommend because they're people that I know. The first one is called Knitters Gotta Knit, and that one is by Awesome Granny and Knitfomaniac. And I have not met either one of them in person, but I've had a lot of conversations with Awesome Granny, Bags by Awesome Granny, and she makes an awesome bag. And they're a lot of fun. They talk about their lives and what they're knitting, and they do a lot of knit-alongs. I'm impressed. One of them said that she's made at least, I think she said she made 2 Find Your Fades, and those are huge. And you saw, I started mine like a couple of weeks ago, and it's going to take me forever to get to it, to finish it. So they may be more prolific than I am as far as knitting. And then the other one I wanted to mention are my personal friends. They have a podcast called River City Knits, and both of these groups of people are from San Antonio, Texas. And they're my friends Enid, who runs the Yarn Barn. She's the owner. And she is also part of the team that is... Okay, I gotta remember which owl is it. There's so many dyers right now with owl in their name, and I don't know why I'm blanking. But she runs the Yarn Barn, and she and her husband are the dyers behind the yarn, their house yarn. And they did go to Houston Fiber Fest, so they are starting to do festivals. And I will put a link to their page in my Ravelry group, because right now I cannot remember their Barn Owl Yarns. I think it's Barn Owl Yarns. And then Amanda, who is the proprietress of Lone Star Arts, is in the podcast. And also Elisa, who she works for, I believe it's NPR, it's National Public. I think she's part of NPR, and she runs a lot of, I don't know what you call them. Like, she does a lot of promotional stuff for them, and she's a lot of fun, and she likes to knit socks. She is mostly a mustache sock knitter, so you'll see a lot of mustache yarn on on the podcast. And they are also talking about different knit-alongs, and they are talking about the Texas Yarn Crawl. I know Enid is part of the people who are organizing for the Texas Yarn Crawl that's coming up next month. And I would go check them out. They're very, very fun, and you'll enjoy their podcast. And it's funny, I didn't write down a lot. I know it's been a while. I know the last time I podcast, I think I had just started back to work. Things are going smoothly this year. Cross my fingers. And I did want to mention real quick what I'm watching. I've been watching The Originals, and I love The Originals. It's a spin-off from the Vampire Diaries, but it's more adult. Everybody's an adult. There's no teenagers in this one, and I really like it. It's more gritty than Vampire Diaries, and it's more true to life. It's got more different kinds of characters in it, and I'm really enjoying it. I hope that they still have a few more seasons since Vampire Diaries is gone. And then I started watching Twin Peaks, and I'm watching the old one because I want to watch the old one before the new one. And yeah, it's a weird show. The characters are really quirky and bizarre, and you guys know I like to watch kind of weird stuff, but this is kind of weird. But I'm enjoying it. It's interesting. And for what I've been reading, I'm just going to mention two things that I think are excellent that I've read or that I am reading. I started listening to A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. And if you don't know who he is the person who did The Kite Runner. I think he may have had one other book, I'm not sure. But he's a wonderful writer, very descriptive. I feel like I'm learning a lot about the Afghani culture as well while I'm listening to this. And this one is set during, I think it sounds like it's in the past, but it's also set during a war. And they're in Afghanistan and Kabul. And I think that's where they are right now in the story. I'm not sure how much moving around there is, but they're in the middle of a war, so there's a lot of scary things happening in the story. And it's very interesting because you get to hear what it's like from a woman's perspective. And I really need to go back and see exactly what the time period is that it's being set in. I'm assuming it's in the past, but I'm not really sure. And then the other book I read that was amazing, it's an amazing horror novel. If you like horror, I would highly, highly recommend it. And it's scary. If you don't get scared by books, you will get scared by this one. It's called Hex, and it's by Thomas Oldhovelt. And I actually found out about it from a podcast that's called the Lunch Ladies Book Club. And what they do is they take a book and they read it and they talk about it for 3 weeks. So they tell you like each week how many chapters you should read. And I've read 2 of the books that they recommended, both the horror ones. I'm not really into mysteries, so they did some mysteries, but I didn't read those. But they're really thorough when they go back over the books and talk about them. And the first book, I can't remember what it was, but they actually had a lot of points and things that I hadn't thought of that really made me think more about the book. And this book, Hex, it's complex and a lot of things going on, so there's a lot to think about while you're reading it. It has to do with this town that has a ghost in it, and the ghost can appear at any time in any place. She has some routines that she does every single week. They know what's going to happen, but most of the time she can appear anywhere, and the town does not want other people who come to the town, because it's a kind of a touristy, beautiful area that people like to come and go hiking in. So they have devised all these schemes to hide her when she shows up in public somewhere. And the people in the town, they have to keep it quiet, because if somebody sees the ghost, they're never allowed to leave the town. And if you try to leave, you can't leave for long, because you'll feel like you want to kill yourself if you do that. And if you get close enough to her to hear her talk, she makes you want to kill yourself. It's really creepy. The teenagers are trying to get this news out because they want a way to be able to leave the town, but things spiral because of this, and it gets worse and worse. And you see what humanity can be like in a disaster. It's really good, very well written, and I highly recommend that one. If you guys are reading anything fun, let me know. I'm also in the middle of reading a series by, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, Sarah Moss. And it's interesting because I enjoy watching Vollenvine's podcast, and she has read a different series by Sarah Moss that I have not read yet, but I'm in the middle of reading the one that's about a girl who's an assassin. And I'm on book 3, and I'll tell you, it's very popular because I'm trying to get book 3 again on Overdrive because I didn't get a chance to finish it, and I'm still waiting. It's been like a month and a half, so it's a pretty popular series. I really enjoy it. If you like YA and you like tough chicks, I would recommend that one too. Let me know what you guys are reading. when I get tired of knitting, I go and read. I've been doing a lot more spinning since I got my e-spinner, so that's making me very happy because I forgot how fabulous it is to see what you've made with your hands, you know, your own hands. I am dyeing up a bunch of stuff. The shop may not be updated for a while. I'm gonna kind of play that by ear. It depends on how much stuff I actually get dyed. Right now I have about 40 skeins that I have not put up because I'm saving it for the trunk show, but if I start to get more dyed, now that school's started and I'm back in my routine, I can probably get back to dyeing some more, and I'm hoping to be able to get more stuff up in the shop. I don't think I have anything else that I need to talk about. Y'all take care. If you're in Houston, my heart goes out to you. I hope that things are okay. And I hope everybody else is staying safe. I know we got another hurricane coming, and I don't know where it's going to land, but hopefully it will not land in the Gulf. They're saying it's not going to, and I hope it doesn't. Anyway, it's good to talk to you guys again, and I will see you probably in a few weeks. And with that, I'm going to say get busy knitting or get busy dyeing.